Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds. Watson with Outside on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. EZ BlueZ, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do we have this today on the program?
Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you it takes a certain amount of time to become a master at something, we talk about it all the time, 10,000 hours. You must put in those 10,000 hours. Now imagine putting those 10,000 hours in while mastering something else completely. Not only mastering something else completely, but mastering one of the things that is possibly the most important thing for our society, and that's educating the youth. This next person took 40 years out of her life and really put forth that effort to help educate the youth and bring that new aspect, but never, ever, ever taking away from herself, her dream, or her talent. And for that, we would love to everyone to stand up, get out of your car, and give her a standing ovation. We understand you're in traffic right now, so you're not going to do that.
Ah, what an introduction. My goodness.
Well, I'm not done yet. Hold, please. For that and that alone, obviously a standing ovation. But we really like you to put your hands together mentally, because we know 10 and 2, you got to keep driving in the right aspects of it. Mentally put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the incredible, the absolutely iconoclastic, because I love using that word today, Terri Lachance. Welcome, benvenue. How are you?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. That is quite an introduction. Hopefully I'm going to live up to it.
You already have, because here's the whole thing. You are a singer-songwriter. You're someone who has been doing it for a while out there. You know, I've seen your name on the on a bunch of the different bills. We know a bunch of the same different people. We were talking with Zach Anderson the other day.
Oh my goodness, I love him.
And he had your praises. Yes, and he loves you. So he was singing your praises and everything, which was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Why, while you're being a school teacher and helping develop the minds of the youth, did you decide that you still wanted to pursue singing, songwriting, and all that?
I think that it's not so much that I wanted to pursue it, but like need to. So I believe, like many performers and singer-songwriters, that it is tied to your mental health. It is tied to your inner being. And so when events are happening in your life, you are recording them and like putting them somewhere so that you can figure out what is going on while they're going on. And so all the events in my life have been chronicled through song, for sure. So if there's good things going on, they're there. And if there's not such good things going on, it's there. And so the whole time that you're teaching or doing other things in your life, you're also need to be a creative being, because it is where you put your emotions and all of the things that in your head somewhere, and it's in a creative outlet instead of some horrible dark place where you don't want to be.
No, and I think that. First of all, that is a fantastic answer, and thank you for your 100% transparency there, because it's so true. I get the question all the time. How do you separate being a father and being a musician? And I'm like, I don't.
Yes,
it's the same person. It's just a matter of we live a different life than other people live. My kids can't go into school every Monday and be like, what do you mean your dad didn't take you to the recording studio? That happens all the time. I was hanging out with so-and-so musician and yada, yada. No, you can't do that, because it just makes you look ridiculous. I tell them all the time, they're like, Dad, you're famous. I was like, no, child, I'm not. I'm completely, a nobody that just happens to be allowed to do what he does through the arts aspect of things and to live that type of existence.
And you have to do what is, your passion is. If your passion is there,
exactly,
it's not really a job at all. It's not that it's no effort, but it has to happen,
Right. Now, when for you was the decision that it had to happen? Were you like, was this like year one teaching? You're like, I need to be able to go through this as well? Or was this
Mm-mm.
something that you discovered to say around like year 10 or something along those lines?
So with me, I have always wanted to play the guitar. And when I was
Hmm.
younger, my mother told me my hands were too small and I needed to wait. So in those days, or whenever that was, I had to wait till I was almost 12 before I could get a guitar. And once I got it, I became a songwriter. I
Right,
immediately started writing songs. It was the perfect way to express everything that was going on in my head. And so I just latched right onto it. So I have been a singer-songwriter since I could play the guitar. But
nice.
you know, then your life takes over. I was a single mom. I raised two kids. I wrote songs while that was going on. I didn't perform quite as much. I performed here and there a little bit. I performed before I had children as a
Right,
singer-songwriter. But then like I just chronicled all my songs, but I didn't really play them out. And then when my
right,
children left for college and I had an empty nest, I realized, oh, what am I going to do with myself? I'm going to go back to my music.
right.
And I literally went to like open mics, thousands of
Hmm.
them, and
Right.
thought, that's where I'm going to find my tribe. And it was so interesting to me because the same people that I left behind when, before, like 20 years ago, they were all still playing in all
Yep.
of the same places. And I thought, oh my God, so much has happened to me along the way, but they're still like on that path of being a musician. And so I could just walk right back into that world, which was kind of interesting.
Well, and that's one of the key things I love that you brought up. Life got in the way. But you never stopped writing.
Mm,
You might not have been playing out as much as you wanted to, but you never stopped writing. And then to go up out there and to see, oh my gosh, I lived this entire other life, and now I get to go back here and see where it is. And I have a similar story. And I came from Long Island to New Haven,
hmm.
and leaving the scene and stuff on Long Island, was still able to come to New Haven, and the scene really just pick up to the same exact place. The parts were played by different people, but the parts were still the same.
Yep.
And it's a glorious type of thing. Now, I love how you also, show that second life that came through. You started to have the empty nest syndrome, so you're like, okay, now I'm going to surround myself with open mics and going out and playing and doing what's necessary. And now you're in even the next evolution of that second life. Congratulations on the retirement, 40 years, high
Thank you.
five
Thank
of
you.
teaching. That's absolutely
Hmm.
incredible. Like you all the flowers in the world for that. And
Hmm.
now you're looking at and you're doing music full time, which
Yep.
is one of the grossest, most horrible, most disgusting, untrustworthy industries of the entire world.
Hmm.
So mainly, you have such a great demeanor about yourself. Why? Why would you surround yourself with such crazy people?
Because they are my tribe. First of all, I think that in so many ways, right? So I've been a
Mhm.
classroom teacher. People could not believe I was a classroom teacher. They always thought I was the art teacher or the music teacher. They're like, wait, you're an elementary school teacher, like in a regular classroom? And I'm like, yes, I am. So I have always been on the island of misfit toys
Mhm.
my entire life. The only people that really appreciate me are the musicians and the people who are, I guess, different in lots of ways because
Right.
we are similar. We have
Mhm.
more in common. So when I believe I was a very good teacher and I know I have been, a very good teacher. I brought a lot of different things to that platform that probably were not traditional in a lot of ways. And
Right.
I don't know whether my school system appreciated it or not. I know students did and parents did, but I'm sure the school system was like, still shaking their head going, we don't know what she did for 40 years, exactly. Like her scores turned out okay. I had a
Yeah.
person
Right.
actually in my district tell me, we don't know how you get your goals met, but you always do. And I'm like, because I'm a good teacher, I know what I need to do. I just don't do it in the way everybody else does it. I'm
Right.
not OCD. I don't need soldiers in my class. I don't want everyone to look, to always be completely focused because they're afraid of me. Like, no,
Right.
no. And so I did a lot of other things. I started bringing a lot of music into my classroom as well. And my team was lovely. I'd be like, okay, let's have the whole second grade, do this song for the town meeting. And they were like, okay, So I had like 4 or 5 of my songs done as town meetings, as, end of the
That's
year
cool.
performances. And that is amazing, like so amazing to have like, 60 to 90 kids like sing your song, and they give you so much back because kids, when they, once again, with their resources, they're like, I found you on Spotify and I'm listening to your CDs now. And I'd be like, oh, well, that's great. Cause, like one day I might be famous. And they're like, Miss Lachance, you're already famous, you're on Spotify, you're on Apple Music, and I'd be like, oh, they just made my day, right? They, they do. I mean, and I have,
Right.
8-year-olds that know my playlists, and it's so amazing to me that they just have taken it on in such a big way, and they know some of the songs because they have sung them, and I hope that they go forward with that, for the rest of their lives, thinking, hey, my second grade teacher like wrote this song and we all did it and it was pretty awesome, So there you go.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is something,
Yeah,
And
kids
then,
can
like I
bring
said,
so much
there's
life into
the
you. It's the
whole other
greatest
part
thing.
of it,
Mhm.
which is to be heard. You have to
Mhm.
be heard. You have to go out there and, if you have a message to say, you have to keep saying it over and over and over. And I think I do have a thick skin and I don't really let too much bother me.
You can't.
I'm doing like crazy, crazy things, since I'm like, oh, I'm a full-time musician now. What do I need to do? I need my songs, out there all the time. I need to let people know, like, I want to join festivals. I want, radio time. I want, somebody to say, hey, that's a great song. I would like to record it,
Right.
I want all of that, and so I'm trying really, really hard and trying to stay focused because
I'm trying to stay
otherwise,
focused too on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City made. EZ BlueZ is in the building. Let's give Terri a chance. Terri, have you been part of any festivals?
yes,
Because
I
you have the
actually
right
have. I've
great
been
energy part. Let me know.
so funny thing, I've run some festivals as well.
Beautiful.
And I will be in some festivals. I'm going to be in well, I'm going to be with Connecticut Rocks.
CT Rocks, Bob the
I
Creel.
was just given a chance to do a couple of songs in March. If you want to know the exact date, I'll switch my calendar here.
Please let us know.
Of course.
Let me think when it is. It is. Nope, it's not. It's in May. Hold on. I'm
Okay,
switching
even
stuff.
better.
Okay.
It is May 16th. Connecticut Rocks is at Cafe 9, and
All
I'm
right.
going
Cafe
to
9,
get to
yep.
play a few of
Just
my
around the
original
corner.
songs there
Nice.
from like 5:30 to 7:30. I have an enormous gig schedule, and I'm in the recording studio, so I just need to say I have six CDs of original music, and
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and most of them have been done at Riverway Studio with Iris
Okay.
Sikowski, who is
Nice.
a doll of a person who has taught me so much about music and about the business. And I sit with him. Not only do I like record, with people, but I
course.
also sit with him and mix every single aspect of the songs, which is not my forte, not at all.
Right.
Like, he'll sit there and tell me, okay, let's listen to these 2 parts. Which one do you like better? And I'm like, Ira, I don't hear a difference. They kind of sound alike to me, And so he takes that on much, much more. And he'll, but then I'll say, hey, I'm thinking of doing a chorus of a bunch of friends, like during this time period. Like, I'm going to start asking people to come to the studio on this particular day. Like, can we do it? And he's like, oh, of course, So, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm, or he'll give me feedback and say, this song needs a little zhuzh, we need to like jazz it up somehow. And so like actually tomorrow, hopefully, if it, all goes
Cross
well
the
with
fingers.
snow, right? I'm supposed to be in the
No
studio.
snow.
I
No
know with
snow.
Frank,
Hey.
Frank Natter is going to
Okay.
come in and like do a song with me. And I have had the pleasure of having so many incredible musicians with me, surrounding me the entire time that I have been a
Right.
singer-songwriter.
That's awesome,
So,
man. That really is.
yeah. Like I have a little band, do you know what I mean? But we don't play out. And we're going to play out because da, 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 in August, I am in at Leif's Garden. I don't know if
Okay.
you guys know that place. It's in
I'm unfamiliar.
Chester. It's a
Mhm.
gallery.
Okay.
And what he does is he does concerts in his garden, and they are amazing concerts, right? So I will say it's kind of like jonesing. Like I would go to
Okay.
those concerts and think, oh God, I wonder if like someday I could do that. For the last like 4 or 5 years, I've gone to those concerts, like a fairyland outside stage,
Right.
all original music. He does not want covers. And so he came to me last year and he said, do you have enough material for 2 hours worth of originals? So I'm like, I could play 5 hours if you really wanted me to. Because I have a lot
Right.
of songs.
Right.
I learned anyway, so I will be there on August 3rd,
All
from
right.
7 to 9 and playing 2 hours. But I will have a band with me. I will
Oh,
have
that's
like,
awesome.
I will have Rob DeSorbo on bass. I will have Brian Caudle on drums. I will have Christopher Abbott on lead guitar, and and we will be playing my songs. We will have
That's awesome.
guests. I'm trying to get guests to come as well because I've had so many musicians help me on my CDs. I've had Cheryl Farkas on, violin. I have
Right.
had Bruce Hazard on violin and washboard. I have had like so many incredible people. I had Robert Bobby Pickett, do his lap steel on 2 songs. I have had so many people go, yeah, Terri, I'll come in and do something. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I have had Clayton
Right.
Allen
Yeah.
come in and do stuff on my songs. And I mean, and it can only make it better. Do you know what I mean? It only
Oh,
raises it up when a
absolutely. It
musician
seems your
of
energy
the
is like
highest
10
caliber,
times as
you
much
know,
as possible.
Yeah.
It's like cloud nine right now.
yeah, exactly. And then you get like
Yeah, go
high,
ahead.
literally high from the
Right.
music because you realize like what this was a simple song with simple chords and my lyrics, and then they raise it up. Every single one of them has raised up my music. So I'm sure you don't follow me, but I try to do a live stream every morning,
Right.
an original
Okay.
song. And
Nice.
Easy.
then
She
I
reminds me of you.
try to give credit to all of the people that have been on the CD
Right.
or done that
Yeah.
song, right? And then I put the studio version
Right.
underneath my live
Smart.
stream. Yeah.
No, that's
And I'm
that's
like,
really
okay,
smart.
I try. I was
Yeah.
doing it from inside my classroom. Like I'd be like, boys and girls, I'm here like live before the students arrive and I would like,
Right.
do my thing. But I could not do that for the last year because I did not have a classroom. I was,
Right.
even before I left my job, I was not a classroom teacher. So I had to do it from home and then run to school as fast as I could.
Right.
But I'm home and I think, should I still keep this going? Yes, I
Yeah.
should.
No, you definitely should.
Because first of all, it's really, really good for me to start my day, that part of my day with music.
Right.
And so I do a song, then I have my guitar in my hand, so I practice, and it like makes me kind of like do the things I need to do in the kind of the right order before I like, exit my little house.
Right.
Yeah.
Easy. Do you have this crazy
I
amount
am
of schedule?
crazy. Say it again.
I'm talking to Easy. I just want to know if he relates to this crazy schedule.
Oh,
That
that's the whole thing is
Right.
you're finding the rhythm and making it a whole part of your life. So,
Yep.
you do the wake up, you get yourself all sorts of ready to rock and roll. And then you'll do like a live stream or, but what I love about it is you are cross promoting. And this is something that I wish artists really would pay attention to. Not only do you have that song up there, but now in the comments, not in the thing itself, in the comments, you're putting a little excerpt, talking about who played on the record, and then you're also in the comments putting the the record, in there where people could listen to that full track. It's
Yep.
so super important.
Yeah.
Now, we are really in this new boom and dawn of the social media musician.
Mhm.
How do you see that next evolution for yourself? Because
Well,
obviously you have a whole lot of time.
I feel like I'm already in. So Ira,
Mhm.
who, does my CDs with me, and I am, I'm fairly focused. Like I'm not,
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm fairly focused. But
Mhm.
he said, do you have a plan for yourself, like as to what you're, thinking of doing and where you're heading? So we actually sat down and wrote it out like a document,
Right.
like what are your dreams? Where do you think you're going to be? And I think that that's super, super helpful because I had them all in my head, but I didn't have them like concretely on paper. And now I can sit down and go, am I doing things that are heading toward the right way?
Right.
The other thing that's also apparent with my life is parts of it have taken over that I did not expect, which is I just joined the board of the Buttonwood. I've always run the open mic there twice a month. I've always been there, and I was a volunteer for quite a bit. I was on their fundraising committee for a while under Anne Marie.
Right.
But when Anne Marie left, I've been basically saying that it has been, the Buttonwood has been running itself, like
Right.
nobody's been in charge. And so they've put a few new people on the board. They're trying to find an executive director still. And people were like, Terri, you could be the executive director because you're not, teaching anymore. I'm like, no, I cannot, because I want to be a musician. I could never
Right.
play anywhere. I'd be at the Buttonwood only,
Right.
every
Right.
Saturday, Friday. Like I can run the open mic. I've been doing that with Rob DeSorbo for 7 years. Turns out we've been doing it for a long time together. And we go every single first and third Monday of the month. It's there all the time, but we just do those two, monthly.
Right.
And then it turned out somehow I end up booking places. I book
Right.
the downtown coffee shop. I book Shayna B's by the Sea in Westbrook. I book Iliano's on Sunday evenings from 6 to 8. I, and now I'm going to possibly be trying to find volunteers to help, the shows
Right.
at the, even if I can't be at all of those shows. So I'm trying to, you know, it's like you want to give back to your community, but you also want to, be part of the community. So I figure these are the places that I can, we can all go together.
Right. Right.
I run events. I'm running a women's showcase of,
Very cool.
yep. And we've done this a couple of times at Dexter's. And so I went to, Martha Wick, we call it Wicketh, after Lilith, but it's Martha Wick owns it. So, we decided we'll call it Wicketh. And, I'm gonna, let me see when that is. It is in July,
Okay.
July 13th. I'll have a bunch of women and, everyone will do like 15-20 minute segment.
Right.
Last time we had like 22 women, they all just, from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 at night. Like we just had people play, and they were in duos, trios, singles. It didn't matter as long as a woman, and I'm putting woman in like quotation marks.
Yes.
Like,
Right. We got you.
Yeah, are fronting that act, whatever it is.
Right.
So we definitely have that. I run a song exchange for local music. This year it's going to be on May 19th at Dexter's, where we learn other songs of other performers.
That's awesome.
Locally. So we've done that now 3 times. This is going to be the 3rd time. It will bring you to tears if you are a performer, because so many people said, well, no one's ever covered my song before. Now I have previously had people cover my songs. I've had people say, I really like that song. Do you mind if I do it? I'm like, nope, just say I own it. It's my song, but you're welcome to perform it. And I've had a bunch of people, take on a couple of my songs. So I thought, this is an amazing event. People were crying. I mean, because you are performing their song in front of them, and they are doing your songs. And it is so amazingly powerful of an event. I love it. And people are like, oh, can you do it more than once a year? No, because what's going to happen is people are going to have to submit songs to me. I'm going to try to pair them with somebody else. you know,
Right.
or you're going to find somebody that you want to, you know, like, oh, I always admire that song of yours. Could we just like, you know, do
Right.
something? So, you know, people do it lots and lots of different ways, but it is amazingly powerful. So that is like another huge event. I'm going to be in Connecticut Palooza this summer on June 8th.
Okay.
They're giving me like a little section of time to do, you know, original songs. And I'm like, yay, you know. I have applied to the Black Bear Festival. I have applied, you know, to the Connecticut Folk Festival. I
Right.
applied to the Big E stage, you know.
There you go.
You
Good
know,
for you.
and I applied to this thing called I'm trying to think of what it's called. The Ladybug Festival, because a friend
Okay.
sent me a link, and it's, you
Right.
know, it's in Wilmington, Delaware, you know. And if I get in, I will be there to play,
Of
you
course
know.
you will. Of course you will.
Yep. And
Yeah.
you know, because I am a crazy person, and you know, I do foresee like, you know, going up and down the East Coast a little bit,
Right.
you know, saying, oh, if I have to go to Delaware on this day, like maybe, you know, I can extend it and go a couple of more places, you know. And then, yeah, you know, my life has been amazing, like in
I have
so
some
many
people
ways.
for you to meet. I have some
Yeah.
people for you to meet. Like no joke.
Yay.
I have some people for you to meet that'll work at that'll kind of put you in the direction you're looking at. I happen to know some
I would
people that
love
can do
that.
the radio and
I
and
would
stuff
love
like that
that.
that you're
I
that
have
you're
been
looking
on a
for.
lot of radio stations.
Right.
I mean, I
Mhm.
definitely like try to do due diligence. I sent
Mhm.
out like 50, probably 50 to 75 of my latest CD to radio
Mhm.
stations everywhere. Like, you
Right.
know, my daughter lives in Vermont. I thought, oh, I'll send some to Vermont, you know, maybe
There
while
you
she's
go.
driving around in Burlington, you know, she'll get to hear
Exactly.
her mom, you know. And then I sent him off some to New York, and I sent them, you know, like, and then I did a lot in Connecticut, you know, because but if I hear of a radio station like, oh, you're about to get a CD, you know, I'll send it off. And or, you know, give links obviously to,
Right.
you know, whatever they need. And I'm like, I'm thinking the more you do, the better it gets, you know.
Mhm.
And I figure, you know, you never know. This winter I went down to Nashville.
Mm.
I'd never been there, but people were like, you've never been to Nashville? I'm like, nope, you know. So I went the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, right, of
Mhm.
December. First
Right.
of all, everything is closed. A lot of things are closed that
Mm.
week, right? So I went down and we got there, and Broadway is open. I don't know if you've been to Nashville, but Broadway was open. So it's like a touristy area, and there's
Mhm.
bands playing and everything, and
Mhm.
you get the feeling, which is overwhelming, that music is everywhere and that
It is,
everybody is
especially in
trying
that
to get
place.
famous.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to get famous.
Mhm.
And but I got to play. You know, I brought a guitar with me, and I walked into, you know, a cafe, and there was a guy playing, and he was a, you know, singer-songwriter, young guy. And
Mhm.
we talked for a couple of seconds, you know, and he was playing some originals. We asked him, you know, they asked, like, what do you want me to, you know, what do you want to hear? I'm like, do you have any originals? He goes, oh my God, thank you so for asking, because nobody ever does, you know. So he played
Right.
a few originals, and he goes, are you a singer-songwriter? I'm like, yes, I am. He goes, would you like to play one? Handed me his guitar, and I went right up on that stage and played a
Oh.
song. I'm like, oh my God, I just played in Nashville, you know? And then
But see,
you know, some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man also said, you know, you're only in Nashville for 3 or 4 days. Hey, like, we'll get you on the singer-songwriter showcase. Come to
Mhm.
Mhm.
Bad Axe. You know, it's a, you know, where they throw
You said
axes.
the play was called Bad
Bar.
Axe?
Bad Axe. Yep.
Oh,
I got to
wow.
play 4 original songs at the Bad Axe, you know, like bar
Yeah.
in Nashville, right? And then I got to play an open mic, a couple of songs in an amazing, amazing place. And I was only there for 4 days, you know?
Oh,
Right.
And
man.
I thought, you know,
How
like,
hot
how
was it down
amazing
there?
is that, right?
How
Well, it
hot
was
was it down
December.
there?
It was December, dude.
Say it again. It was December. It was this like
But,
just, you know,
but
but
still, you
everything
know what I'm
was
saying? Down south.
closed.
Yeah.
And it was cold out. It was not warm. I
Okay.
It was
expected it to
Okay.
be
not warm.
warm. It
It's
was
Well,
usually like
see,
very
bipolar
cold.
sometimes. I'm just
yeah.
saying because I'm from the south. That's why.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
The weather
You get
was
like
like,
Well,
65
I
in
mean, it was
December
like really in
sometimes,
the
maybe
30s,
70.
you know,
Yeah.
30s. It
That
was
all right,
not
I get it.
warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Nashville was going to be like, oh, I'm going to somewhere nice and warm. You know, I'm going to hang out for 4 days. And no, no,
Right.
no. It was cold, but
Mm,
it was still amazing
I
it was
because
bet.
still
people were
glorious.
so, so nice. And people were so willing to say, oh, okay, here you go. And I was so nervous, like, because I play all music in front of me with sheet music. I'm not good
That's
at like
fun.
playing without something in front of me. And I was trying really hard to like not have a music stand and just play
Right.
a few songs, and that makes me even more nervous. But I did it. And you could
No, it's
probably go somewhere on my Facebook page and find me doing it because I was there.
right. But see, that's one of the key things is you stay open to the different things, the different possibilities that could happen. A lot of people will get in their own way and their own self-assurance is a little bit off. Their self-esteem is a little bit too low to rock and roll
Yep.
and to go into that aspect. Was this something that you've always been? Because from what I'm hearing in your story, this is just who you've always been since, before 12.
No, no, not at all. When
No,
I was
really?
first performing, I
Hmm.
was scared to death. I was shaking, literally shaking. I'd have a book in front of me. People said, You're not looking at the book though. We don't think you're looking at it. Your eyes are closed." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am definitely sneaking peeks at like all the lyrics of these songs.
Right.
And I would get off the stage and they would be like, "You don't look nervous. And you
Mhm.
get better at it.
Right.
And it's different too. Like when you're a teacher, you're talking all day long in front of people, and it's kids. It's not adults. And then you get used to changing it up to be with adults,
Right.
because you realize it's kind of the same. You're still saying the same thing. You have to be, you have to let people know who you are. You have to get your message across. You have to do all the things that you want to do, and make sure that you thank the people you want to thank. You
Right.
give gratitude to the people that are out there. But I have been on a journey. Like you don't start, you can't start, like just
Right.
out of the gate, like feeling strong. And
No.
there are times I am very, very nervous, like very nervous. And people are
Yeah.
like, "You're nervous?" I'm like, "Oh God." This summer, like I do stuff with Meriden a lot, with I do a
Mhm.
lot with the downtown coffee shop, but I'm also putting musicians in the break of the Twilight series, which is
Okay.
they have like bands play in the summertime on the amphitheater, which is on the green. And it came to I was asked, like, "Do you know enough musicians, like, to maybe have them play the break between
Right.
the bands?" So I actually scheduled, local musicians to play three or
Right.
four songs, had to be original, in
Hmm.
the middle of the bands. And it was funny because the bands, a lot of them are tribute bands. They're playing someone else's music.
Right.
And the people that played the break were all local musicians playing their
Right.
own music, right? So since I organized it, of course I put myself in a prime location. I played the break for 8 to the bar. So
Nice.
there were like 300 people in the field, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, "Oh," and I'm gonna play 2 or 3 of my originals, right? I was definitely nervous. And
Right.
and but I had like someone like Christina Meadows, she's 21. She did the Bon Jovi tribute band. Like that is
Right.
the hugest audience she has ever played in front of.
Right.
She played her, 2 or 3 original, songs as well. And it is an amazing thing to do.
Right.
So I will be in charge of that again, putting musicians
Nice.
in. And it's just such a beautiful thing for the town, to
Right.
hear their local talent, in between like this thing that they just, they came out because they like that kind of music or that
Right.
band or whatever.
No, that makes so much sense, and it's something that we talk about all the time. Something that we've actually talked about with the higher ups in New Haven itself
Hmm.
is to highlight more of the local talent that you have out here. Because not only if it is and I'm not saying this is a paying gig, not a paying gig, because it's none of my
Yeah.
business one way or the other.
Yep.
But say it's a paying gig that if I'm a musician in New Haven, I get paid from New Haven. You know where I'm going to spend that money?
Yep.
In New Haven.
Yeah.
To me, it's a real simple mathematical equation here. I don't understand why it became rocket surgery and why we're hiring all these people from outside of wherever to come and do things instead of focusing on,
Hmm.
some of the more local talent that's out there. So I
And
appreciate that at least they're
yep.
doing that in Meriden.
Yep. And the other thing too is, and like, okay, so I should not say this, but I will. I am known, I play for gigs and I do get paid
Mhm.
for some of them. Some of
Right.
them are tips and a meal. Some of
Right.
them are like not too much, you know. I play
Right.
farmers markets a lot during the summer, and I tell people this all the time. I'll play a 3 hour stretch. It'll be the same 3 hour stretch I would play anywhere, right? You know, different songs,
Mhm.
obviously, but you know, it's
Right.
me. It's still me, right? In
Right.
some of those towns, you get $25, you know, some of the towns you get 50, some of them you get 100. You're literally
Right.
doing the same job, but your, you know,
Mhm.
your pay is different because of the way the towns are organized, right?
Right.
And it's in my, because I am blessed once again, like, and I know, you know, that's why I realized during the pandemic it was so important to keep music alive. But I was a teacher, you know what I mean? I
Right.
didn't have to suffer like I was. I mean, I suffered, but I didn't struggle to pay my bills. Like I was still working through the pandemic, you know, and I was being paid by my district. Same thing now. I left my job after 40 years. Like I have a pension. Am I
Right.
rich? No. But like I can, you know, I can play for a fundraiser. I can play for, you know, something. And I don't have to necessarily think like, oh, you know, I can't do this. I can't, you know, afford to do this. No. Like to me, the joy of playing and going out and meeting people and rubbing elbows with people is fine. Like it's
Yeah.
nice when somebody realizes like, yeah, you should be compensated because you are doing something. You know,
Right.
you're doing a job when you are out there playing your music. For me, it's like the music is more important. And I know
Mhm.
it's like a bunch of
And what's
musicians
also
would be
important is me
like,
saying these call letters,
no, you know,
WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City Made, EZ Blues. Terry, my apologies. Continue.
nope. I'm just saying, like, I know my musician friends really get to me on that because they're like,
Mhm.
you should always get paid for everything that you do, you know? And I have learned
Yeah.
a lot along the way
Mhm.
about this, which, you know, like I said, I am
Mhm.
lucky. I am not struggling. Like, I'm not
Right.
a struggling person. I'm not saying I'm rich because I am not rich. I'm a teacher, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just the idea that I know I have a, like, you know, I have my safety net for sure,
Right.
you know, and that is what's going to give me the opportunity to do
Mhm.
this. And I feel like I'm, once again, very blessed in that way. And so it
It's a great
doesn't
feeling.
matter too much. People say like I'm putting musicians in the downtown coffee shop.
Mhm.
I go to the downtown coffee shop
Right.
almost every Saturday and
Right.
watch that musician. Sometimes
Right.
it's me, but it's not always me, you know, it's usually
Right.
someone else. And I go almost every Saturday and have breakfast there, right? And people are like, do you get paid to put the musicians in? No, I do not.
No.
I'm usually paying $20 for my breakfast and I'm giving the musician 10, you know? Um, so like I actually am, more money is going out than in, you
Right.
know? And
Right.
in
Right.
those situations. And that is, and then I run to Shayna B's in Westbrook and watch another musician from 2 to 4 and give
Right.
and eat or take a meal to go or something, and then give that musician $10, you know?
Right.
And I'm thinking, I literally had to calculate how much money I spend per month on
Mhm.
this kind of stuff because I'm going to be on a fixed income, you know? And I'm
Right.
thinking, I afford to like, you know, constantly do this. I had to build it into my, you know, my plan
Right.
because I thought,
Right.
you know, it is a chunk of money that I'm
Right.
spending,
Yeah.
not so
But
much getting, you know? And people are like, well, why do you do it? You're not, you know, you're not getting any money. And I'm like, you don't, I have put musicians that never had a gig before,
right.
Terry.
phenomenal, right? I have had musicians go, you know, like, wow, you know, people are a listening audience here. Like, it has
Mm-hmm.
just brought so much joy to me. Or there are musicians I don't know that well that, you know,
Right.
come through and I'm like a chance to connect with somebody. Or it is a friend that I never get a chance to see, you know, and
Right.
now you are scheduled. So yay, I get to see you today, you know?
Right. No, and that's one of the big things, and that's one of the things that I truly appreciate. Is you have those type of aspects, and like P. When when we started doing
Mm-hmm.
this in particular, it was really just about reaching out to as many friends as humanly
Of course.
possible.
Yeah.
I know you had a good point you were about to hammer home. I wanted to give you a little bit of elbow
No,
room.
it was just highlighting just back in the day where you just went from it was like Crown Street. You were just going back and
Yep.
forth. It reminded me of your hustling days back when you first started out as a
Right.
musician, getting your name out there in New
Well,
Haven. That's why I just
well,
wanted
and
to
and
highlight. That's all.
and that's one of the key things is it's not if you look at things in the social media type of aspect of it, where you're dealing with the algorithm, you can actually look at that real life algorithm as well. The
Mm.
more that you're going to get back from something is the more that you're actually putting into it. Now, if we were
Yeah.
sitting here and talking about any other type of business other than, say, music, and you said, I'm spending such and such, da da da, you would have someone say, that's part of your marketing budget. That's, is this for that? And that's okay. But the minute you talk about, you're a musician and you do that, well, you're not going to be able to eat tomorrow because you gave that $10. No, I invested. I invested so that it's going to come back to get me on the other end. Whether you do believe it's in the karma aspect of it or just the algorithm of life, you have to. We get so wrapped up, especially being American. We get so wrapped up in the take aspect of it that we forget that you have to give more than you take. And that's truly where you find that balance and happiness. I've sat on both sides of the argument of getting paid for the show, not getting paid for the show, doing the show for the money, not doing the show for the money, those different types of aspects. And I always look at it like this: I'm always down to take a short-term loss for a long-term gain.
Yep.
And you never know, that show could set me up to go play 4 more shows that I'm getting paid 4 times the amount for. Or that show could connect you with that one studio person that now you're getting paid, you have to pay a fourth of what you initially were going to have to pay for that. Now your quality's that much better. Now you have more money to drop into your marketing budget. Now you have more money to get in, and you are able to pour that out more and more and more, but you have to give. You have to give of yourself. And it's a huge sacrifice. I mean, there's many times I've gone without sleep because, you had to get to that next aspect, that next level. How did you manage that while working full time? And
So my answer
what?
to everything is get up earlier. So
Well,
and I used
okay.
to say this all the time. So people, once again, I am crazy, right? I get up so I was getting up at 4:30, right?
Right.
Because I am a jogger. And so I live across from Hammonasset actually right now in a
Okay.
little 400 square foot cottage. I gave up my house. I had a house. I sold it.
Right.
I thought I don't need a house anymore. So I moved up here to, the shoreline. So I get up in the morning, I do some exercises, blah, blah, blah. And then I go and jog in Hammonasset. And then I come home and I live stream, my song or whatever. And then I would get, to my job and then,
Right.
Be there until, 4. Then I would go tutor or go to an open mic or,
Right.
Run something or run to something else, and that, or, just stuff. I'm taking guitar lessons again.
Right.
I've been doing that for 3 years because since I've been 12, I've pretty much been playing the same way. And I thought, yeah, I should really vary this, and there's things I don't know about my craft. I actually don't know how to read music. A lot of things. And people are always so funny to me because they're like, wow, that was really interesting the way you use those chord progressions. And they're like completely untraditional. And I'm like, because I don't know,
Yeah, because I don't know any better.
Yeah. And they're like, my guitar teacher, love her to death, right? She's like, Terri, that note that you're using at the end of that line, that's a passing note. That's not a note that you can end your line with. And I'm like, but I did. And it sounds good to me, And I've had people say, that is a little unusual, but it sounds really good there. And I'm like, yes, it does. And I'm keeping it there. But it's
not that unusual, to be honest
right.
with you, because that song Baby Shark. They end on a passing tone, so it never feels like it's resolved. So you always feel like that next part's going to come through. And that's been like that since before the dawn of Mozart. So for all those people like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can. And you want to know why I can? Because I just did. But I will tell you, I will say this. Unfortunately, we are starting to pull the Apollo curtain. This has been an incredible conversation.
And I
I'm loving
appreciate you
every
guys
second of it.
so much for having me.
Well, now we're going to we want to give this over to you, though. How can people invest in who you are? How can they invest in figuring out, where you're at? What are your social medias? Please promote the thing. And if you can give in a short burst, if you can give us one thing that you're grateful for, that would be fantastic.
Okay. So you can find me mostly on Facebook because that is my go-to place. So it is Terri, Terri, Lachance, Lachance. I mean, I do have, other platforms, but I'm really, I list my gigs, under me personally. I definitely send things out. I am on Spotify, but all of my music is under Terri, like Terri, and Rob Duo, and that is Rob DeSorbo. He has recorded everything I've done with me, and so that is an amazing thing. I am actually leaving for Vietnam on Thursday for 2 weeks. I am a traveler. I go places all the time, and then I come back. And so long story, but everybody that knows me knows why I'm going to Vietnam. I was supposed to go before the pandemic, and I got locked out. So, that's how I'm doing it. So I am going there. But when I come back, I will be at Village Pizza in Gales Ferry. Will be my welcome back on March 1st gig. So I come back on the 29th, and March 1st, I have a gig again,
That's awesome. It has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for
Thank you guys
being
so
here.
so much.
We are going to continue to talk.
In touch.
Yeah, no, because I think there's a lot of people that we both know, but there's also people that you need to know.
I would love that. Absolutely love that.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you with all my heart.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm grateful for.
We are grateful for you, Terri, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and Mr. EZ Blues. Here's some music from Terri.
Have a friendship, fleeting love. I can't believe that till I look back to the pictures on my phone, staring at me, making that feeling in my stomach, knowing it's a lie. I can pretend, I can put my emotions back where they belong. I've done it my whole life. If I say it enough, I'll believe it. When I see you, we'll be fine. There's no chink in my armor. Isn't that what you want? Leave me feeding on myself. I will survive. I'm good at keeping busy, pushing through, trying to learn each time about myself. Have a friendship, a fleeting love. I can't believe that till I look back to the pictures on my phone. I can believe that till I look back to the pictures on my phone.